now I'd like to introduce CEO of NetEffect, Jeff Grace.
Hi, good morning, Danica and Chamber members. This morning we're going to talk about cybersecurity and give you some tools and tips so that you will not become a victim of cybercrime. So first off, to set the stage, I like to start off with what IT security looks like to us, the IT professional. To us, IT security is very much an ongoing process. There is no one stopgap fix for IT security. It's best approached in layers of defense, a layer at the PC, a layer at the network, etc. User awareness and behavior is absolutely critical to IT security, and we're going to talk a lot about some things to be aware of and behaviors that you can adopt to be far more safe. And ultimately, security breaches are impossible to prevent 100%. It's really all about mitigating risk. It's really about asking how much time, how much money are you willing to spend to mitigate how much risk. And in my opinion, there's always a nice sweet spot there in terms of investment versus risk mitigation. So, approximately 1/3 of businesses surveyed say that they have experienced some kind of fraud attempt online. And I like to joke that the other 2/3 simply aren't paying attention. So, here are the 5 steps that we're going to review to help you avoid becoming a victim of cybercrime. Step 1, strengthening your computer's defenses. Now, cybercrime is not magical, and it's really not all that mysterious. Cyber criminals simply use the inherent properties of network protocols like TCP/IP that the internet runs on. Once they understand these protocols, they can exploit those properties for their advantage and gain. Firewalls are designed and programmed to recognize these types of network protocol exploits and simply drop those types of malicious network connections. Similarly, anti-malware and antivirus software recognize malicious activity and simply, in most cases, and they're not 100% successful, they will prevent that malicious activity. Also, software updates, also known as patches, do the same thing. When an exploit comes out, becomes well known for, say, your Microsoft operating system or Microsoft Office or a piece of Adobe software, etc., the manufacturer of that software will release a patch that will stop that exploit from being used. Step 2 is to not be tricked into allowing one of these security breaches inadvertently yourself. One of the most common ways that this is done is by cyber criminals getting you to voluntarily but inadvertently download a virus or a piece of malware on your computer. So here, for instance, this is an email that I got. This is called a phishing attempt, phishing spelled with a PH. Here I got this email that caused a very brief emotional reaction, right? I'm thinking, oh no, I've been subpoenaed. And if I clicked on that link where it says subpoena in a civil case, it would take me to a site that would then infect my computer. Now this, I couldn't resist. As I was preparing for this presentation yesterday, I got this email. You can see the date, October 15th at 7 a.m. Great phishing attempt, right? So this one's actually pretty good. It has my customer details, my customer number, my order number. Things are spelled correctly. So it actually made me take a second look at it to see if it was legitimate. So some things some behaviors to avoid being tricked into downloading malware. Think before you click on a link. Confirm the message is legitimate. So if you get something that you're not quite sure if it's legitimate or not, you can always call the person or email the person and say, hey, I received this. Is this legitimate? It looks a little bit suspicious. And close pop-up messages carefully. So, oftentimes when you get a little pop-up, so this one for instance, attention, your PC is infected with spyware, that is a piece of software, that's a result of a piece of software running on your computer trying to get you to do something, right? It's a lot easier to infect your computer if I can get you to participate in that infection. So in this case, you don't know if the OK button, the cancel button, or the red, square at the top of the X is going to actually close that window. Control F4 on your keyboard will always close the window that's in the forefront on your desktop. So, a couple more examples of phishing attempts. Some are purely ridiculous. Again, this is an example of one that I received. Hello, compliment of the day. How are you? I mean, it's silly. It's kind of laughable. Other phishing attempts are really pretty compelling and convincing. So this one I received myself, and I really had to take a second look at it. So very intelligently crafted. The phone number for Netflix support is actually the phone number for Netflix support. And what they're trying to do here is get you to click on the link that says Netflix/payment, and for you to then input your credit card. Once they've captured your credit card, they've got your information, and they can use that for profit. In fact, if you click on that Netflix/payment link, it will take you to a web page that looks just like Netflix, right? So the intent here is to fool you into cooperating, being complicit, participating in the crime. You can see, however, on the very top right-hand corner, the word authorizing is misspelled. But other than that, that's a pretty well crafted piece of phishing email. Okay, step 3. Cybercrime is a business. Criminals are after your data that they can use for profit. No one is likely going to care about intercepting your emails in which you're sending a friendly note to your mom, for instance. They want to steal stuff that they can sell, like personally identifying information, your name, date of birth, social security number, etc., as well as credit card numbers. So, take into account the context of the data that you're handling, and handle sensitive data with special care. Some ways to avoid scams and fraud is you can look for telltale signs and use your common sense. So, for instance, when I received that email from Netflix, right, I have to stop and think about that a moment rather than just simply reacting and clicking on the link. A great source for deciphering the fact from fiction is Snopes.com. You can go to Snopes and you can input the subject line of an email or whatever it is that you're seeing on your computer. And what's great about Snopes is it will give you a lengthy history. First, it will tell you if it's true or false. And what I really like is it will tell you, oftentimes there's a kernel of truth to the scam, the fraud attempt, because it's a heck of a lot easier to convince you if it has a kernel of truth. Oh yeah, I've heard about this or that, right? So Snopes will really help you to decipher that. Think before you click, be a little suspicious. You can hover over suspicious links before you click on them so you can see where it's going to take you. And I have a screenshot of that coming up here in just a moment. And you can also go directly to the site in question rather than clicking on the link. So if I receive an email allegedly from Netflix saying my account is in jeopardy, rather than clicking on the link, I can pull up my web browser, log into Netflix. That route is much safer. And beware, for instance, is a great example of the phony phone calls from Microsoft that I think just about everybody has received. Somebody with an offshore accent saying, I need you to go to your computer right away. Your computer is infected. I'm calling from Microsoft. I guarantee you Microsoft will never, ever call you to talk with you about your computer. Okay, so this is a great example, and I'm going to put my pointer right over the Listen Now now link. So when I hover over that link, you can see that it's going to msevents.microsoft.com. So here it's going to a legitimate link. Okay, it's a trustable link, and also, by the way, it's a trustable source. I know where that's coming from, so it's fine to click on that link. All of the additional information afterward is simply identifying the event itself and other details. It might be referencing me and who I am when I click on that link. That stuff is fine, but you can see that it's going to Microsoft.com and not some strange, long, nonsensical web address. Okay. So for now, passwords are one of the biggest barriers to becoming a victim. You need to choose complex passwords, keep them private, and change them often. So we're going to go through a few passwords here. Password 1 is that a weak or strong password is very weak. That is a very, very commonly stolen password. This password 06/04/79 is a weak password, especially if it is your date of birth. This password's getting a little bit better, but it doesn't have very much, it doesn't have a lot of variation from the word itself. So you can see here they replaced the T with an exclamation mark, but it's not really yet complex. This one, very complex. They've taken 4 random words that don't typically go together and replaced particular letters with numbers or special characters. That's a really nice secure password, but not a very easy one to remember. This password, just a simple series of numbers, probably somebody's phone number, not very secure. And then this has been for years my tried and true method for choosing a secure password. I will come up with a phrase that I'm really, really unlikely, that I can't forget, right? So in this example, my son Aiden was 3 years old in December. You take the first letter of each word to create the password, and then change some of the, you can change an I to an exclamation mark. They look similar. You can change an A to a number 4 because they look similar. This is a really, really easy way to create a nice, strong password that you may struggle a few times when you're getting used to the password to remember it, but I've used it for years. It works fantastically well. This list, I love it. It's the 25 most commonly stolen passwords of 2014. And it just astounds me that some people are still using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as a password. That's the most commonly stolen password of 2014, along with password is number 2. You can see some new ones down towards the bottom of the list. Batman, Superman, not very secure passwords. To put a little bit more flesh on the bones here in terms of cybercrime, a security firm, so if you look at this map, the security firm BitGlass created a false file, a spreadsheet that looked like it was personally identifying information. They released this document, and in less than 2 weeks, the file had traveled to 22 countries on 5 continents. I mean, it's big business, right? And it's cybercrime groups who are doing this not for fun. They're doing it to make money. So again, with regard to passwords, make them strong, keep them private. Don't write your password on a Post-it note and stick it under your keyboard, for instance. Use unique passwords and change them routinely. You can also use, this is a website that I like a lot, called passwordmeter.com. And on Password Meter, you can type in your password or your intended password, and it will tell you with an excruciating amount of detail how secure that password is. So for instance, the example that we were looking at just a moment ago, my son Aiden was 3 years old in December. That's a very strong password. Versus the word puppies is about one of the weakest passwords you can possibly choose. You can also use a password vault like LastPass. This is a really, really nice piece of software. It's free if you want to install it on a single device. The premium plan is $12 per year, and then you can install it on multiple devices. I use LastPass, and it's fantastic. So you're especially vulnerable to becoming a victim when you're out of the office because you're using other people's networks that may not be secure. You simply have no way of knowing if the network you're on is secure or not. So when you're out of the office, you want to make sure that you're connecting securely. You want to confirm that you're connecting to where you are connecting to, right? You want to use just a little bit of discrimination, common sense. You want to make sure that you encrypt any confidential data. So for instance, if you connect from your computer back to your office using a VPN, that's a secure and encrypted connection. If you're going to a banking site, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment, you want to make sure that any of that, especially the financial, the sensitive activity like financial or company data, you want to make sure that's really secure. Be careful of flash drives, USB thumb drives, right? Those are really, really good. It's a really good method for transporting, disseminating one of these viruses or pieces of malware. You want to make sure when you use one of these drives that it's either your drive or it's from somebody that you trust is not, engaging in all kinds of risky computer behavior. Might have a virus or piece of malware on there that is completely silent, and you insert it in your computer, it installs, and you may not even know that you're infected. So this is what I was talking about just a moment ago with regard to a banking site. So here you can see two things when I go to meadowsbank.com. One is the lock. Okay, you see the green lock. That shows that it's an encrypted connection. And rather than HTTP, it's HTTPS. The S stands for secure. So anytime I'm transacting online, now if I'm going to Google News, I don't care if it's encrypted. No one really cares of what news articles I'm reading about. But if I'm going to a banking site or if I'm buying something online, I will not submit my information. I don't even want to log into something that's not a secure encrypted connection. So lastly, if you encounter some kind of suspicious activity, take action, right? Report it to your IT team, tell them what you've run into, and ask questions. Be aware of phishing attempts and other social engineering attempts. Social engineering refers to the practice of trying to get the user to participate in the crime. So if somebody calls you and says, "Hi, I'm from Microsoft, I need your password," don't give it to them. That's social engineering. We provide IT support all across the Las Vegas Valley, and we tell our clients, if you're not sure, ask us. And also, if you lose a mobile device, a laptop, a tablet, a company cell phone or personal cell phone, if it has access to your company data, as soon as it goes missing, report it missing to your IT team. You'll want to change all your passwords, and with regard to mobile phones, most have the ability to remotely wipe the company data off of your mobile device. So for more resources about protecting yourself against cybercrime, You can go to our blog. We regularly update it with all kinds of IT content. We have lots of articles on there about security. There's a really good one on there about CryptoLocker, which is a really, really dangerous piece of ransomware. Infects your computer. When it infects it, it encrypts your files and won't decrypt them until you pay the folks who generated that virus. And you can also go to Microsoft.com/security. They've got a lot of great resources. So, Danica, let's open it up to questions.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the presentation. If anyone has any questions, they can type it into the chat box in the bottom left corner of the screen you see here, or you can press *7 to unmute your line. Jeff, would you mind just saying again that email address if they have any follow-up questions?
Sure.
Go to?
Sure. You can send it to support, SUPPORT, at neteffect, NETEFF as in Frank, ECT.com.
Awesome. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions today. If there's anything that anyone wants to add, they can always contact Jeff at that email, or they can let the chamber know. You can give us a call, 702-641-5822, and we'll make sure that Jeff and his team at NetEffect get right on it. And if you guys are interested in more of our Chamber University series, our next meeting is, next webinar is next Friday the 23rd at 1 p.m., and we're going to be talking about small business law. So if you have any questions about upcoming events, webinars, or you'd like to ask a question about cybersecurity, feel free to give the Chamber a call. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful Friday. Thank you.
Thank you.